And welcome into Genesis Place in Airdrie, Alberta. It is game number 2 of the Larry Bishop Memorial Tournament. It is the Central rep, the Mountain View Mavericks, taking on the Northern champion Fort Saskatchewan Rebels. The Rebels roll in, having completed the impossible, or what many would have thought was impossible, beating the Warriors in a 2-game straight sweep, while the Mavericks roll in, going down to the Silvertips in the Central Final, but making their way into the tournament with the Silvertips as hosts. It's the primetime game on a Friday night. It doesn't get better than that. Rebels, Mavericks, and we're ready to go here from Genesis Place. And off the draw, that's going to be grabbed by the Mavericks, and they're going to head up floor. They'll be moving right to left on your screen, wearing their home dark uniforms. It's almost a brown blackish type look, and the Warriors, or the Rebels, wearing their white roads as Mackenzie couldn't pick that up, and here go the Mavericks. That's something they're going to want to do in this game and throughout this tournament, is get out and run in transition. As the ball turns over, it'll be Rebel possession. As Simonson brings it up, he gets it to Kohut, who's chased there a little bit by the Mavs. Kohut up across the top, down to Baker. Baker out in front, Baker, and he scores! Jackson Baker with a little bit of a crease dive and put it low on Swan to make it 1-0. So quick start here. Not even a minute in, we have the game's first goal. Ball drawn right to Eastwood. Eastwood fires, and that goes low and wide. Mackenzie behind the back fake and then rips it low on Swan. And he smothers that. Here come the Mavericks. Amundsen up to Sutherland, back to Amundsen. Ball swings, shot. That misses the net. Starting goaltenders in this one, McGilvery, who was really good against the Warriors and has been great all season long for the Rebs. And down in the other end, Swan for the Mavericks, who actually led the league by a landslide with 17 assists. He was like the 8th or 9th leading scorer on the Mavericks. Pretty incredible out of the net as the Mavericks come back out in transition. Hildebrandt, that's Ethan, gets it just across in time as he passed the ball to Myris. Myris into the near corner, gets tripped up. No call. The Rebels will come away with it. Vetch, who's very good on loose balls, picked it up and then lost it. Ball goes near the bench, and it's picked up by Vetch, who loses it again in heavy traffic, and the Mavericks head back up floor. Here's Hildebrandt. Real threat in transition, stopped by McGilvery, and here goes Simonson. Simonson down the floor into the 24, and he'll circle back out. Ball into the stick of Kohut. Dangerous shooter. Swings it to Owen, but he got bumped into the crease, and it'll be Maverick ball, and here they go. Bit of a 2-on-1. Inside, cross crease look, and that went wide, and they call the Mavericks for stepping inside the cylinder. Here goes Reynaud, who can get going himself. Gets to Baker. Baker misses the net. Eastwood, rebound, shot, stopped. And here go the Mavericks back out. They go hard out of their zone every time. That's something that you'll notice with this team. A nice swim move there by Sutherland. Probably their most dynamic offensive guy. Got really good handles, does Sutherland. And Rebels come back down into the offensive zone. And we now bleed About 4 minutes into this one, Rebels with a 1-0 lead. Dolinsky gets it up high. Now the ball goes into the near corner. Out in front, and that's a goal. As that looked like Muratori stepped up across the face of his defender and buried it up high on McGilvery to make it 1-1. And Muratori had a huge game number 1 against the Chill with 4 goals. He picks up where he left off and evens this one up at 1. A lot of good energy in this building tonight. Had a good game earlier with the Shamrocks taking down the Silvertips. Place was packed, and now we got a good crowd on hand for the nightcap. Mavericks and Rebels. In behind the net, ball is brought out, and now it's up top. Off of the right shooter, Hildebrandt. Dangerous shooter in his own right, misses the net there. Tried to go backdoor to Dolinsky, doesn't find him. Now with the shot clock winding down, that ball will just be laid into the chest of McGilvery. And here goes Scrimshaw. Scrimshaw, suicide pass to Zorniak. That ball goes loose. And here goes the big man for the Mavericks, Barclay, who often just charges to the net, rips that on McGilvery. Here go the Rebs, back the other way. Ball bounced up to McAdam. You talk about big-time playoff performers, Carter McAdam has been all of that and more for the Rebels as McAdam gets dragged down inside. Outside shot by Baker, stopped by Swan. That hit the ceiling, but the refs don't detect it. The Rebels are gonna work hard to try to turn this over, and they're gonna grab the ball anyway. Vetch to McAdam off the bench. McAdam right into the glove of the Mavericks. Goaltender Swan. As the ball gets thrown down floor. And Walsh is gonna try to track that down, but Sutherland flips it out in front. And that's turned away by McGilvery, the captain for the Mavericks. Looked like Lordermeyer with the opportunity. Eastwood. And I know I've referred to the Rebels in the past as Swiss Army knives, and they really have a ton of those. As Eastwood, the poster child for that, can do a bit of everything, turns the ball over like crazy, back into his team's possession all the time, can provide offense, can get back and play D. He's a guy that can, him and McAdam both, they truly can play on your power play and your man short, as you see Eastwood hounding his man there. Mavs back down into the offensive zone. Muratori around his man, gets grabbed, and that's going to set up a Maverick power play. So with 13:25 to go, the Rebels will go to the box. That looks like Brown, and it'll be a Maverick power play. I want to thank you for joining us here at CROW LAX TV. All you got to do is hit subscribe. You'll be notified every time a game goes live. Game number 2 of the Larry Bishop Memorial. Winner will go to the Founders. Gold medal game on Monday at 1. Round robin leading up to that. All 5 teams will play one another. Top 2 play for gold on Monday at 1 o'clock. Ball is low now. Brought in behind the net. In front, that's stopped. And loose ball grabbed back by the Mavs. Sutherland, another big-time playoff performer for the Mavs, gets stopped by McGilvery as Sutherland signals what's set to run here. Sutherland gets the ball down to Hildebrandt. That ball's knocked down by a Rebel stick. Looked like Scrimshaw got a piece of that. Sutherland, no looker, down to the far crease. Back to Sutherland, stopped by McGilvery. And here goes Scrimshaw. Scrimshaw navigates his way across center. About a minute to go in the kill. Scrimshaw tried to get it to Baker. That goes loose. Ball is going to be picked up by the Mavericks and Hildebrandt. They got about 45 seconds remaining on the power. 1-1 between the Central and the North reps here as that gets stopped and rebound, and it's picked up by the Rebels. Scrimshaw jogs out over center. Scrimshaw in some traffic here as the Mavericks change. Scrimshaw meandering and able to hold on to the ball here. With about 20 seconds on the kill, it's picked off. And here go the Mavericks. Muratori to the net, and that was way wide. Well, that kid's got some hop in his step. Very explosive as Muratori. Already has one here. He might be a player to watch throughout this tournament. First time seeing him. I don't remember him when the Mavericks visited the Warriors the one time I saw them live earlier this year. McKenzie rips that. Gets his own rebound and tried to go up over top of Swan. That gets turned away. Should note that these two teams did meet early season. It might have even been the Rebels' first game of the season. And it was the Mavericks coming away with a 6-5 victory inside of Moyer Recreation Center in Josephsburg, just outside of Fort. In tight, Manning tried to bring that in. That ball's behind Eastwood. Luckily for the Rebels, McKenzie was patrolling up high, grabbed the loose ball. Eastwood fires it over to McKenzie. McKenzie off his back foot, takes a sidearm, stopped by Swan. As we approach the midway portion of this first period, we want to thank Vimy Ridge Academy. At Vimy Lacrosse, excellence is the standard. Led by some of the province's most decorated and experienced instructors, Vimy Lacrosse is the fusion of sport, academics, and personal growth. Unleash your potential with Vimy Lacrosse. Visit VimyEdmonton.ca/lacrosse. As the ball swings over right side, the Mavericks mishandle that. Simonson's going to go collect that. Doing a good job on loose balls has Simonson throughout these playoffs for the Rebels. He fakes the handoff. And now eventually gets it to McKenzie. Rebel shot clock all the way down, but McAdam was left all the way, or was allowed to walk all the way to the front of the net. Swan with that save. And now Mavericks again, transition look. But the Rebels do a good job of getting back. And tried to tell you before the tournament, and now that we're about a game and a half a period in, I think you're seeing it for yourself. This is going to be a tight tournament. A lot of teams that can beat one another. As the ball goes near center. Pick back up, Sutherland shoots that, and he just pulled that to the short side, just missed. And shot clock will go off. It'll be Rebel ball. 9 minutes to go, first period. 1-1. And oftentimes styles can make fights. Both of these teams like to run out in transition, like to play a bit of a organized chaos type game, if you will. 3-on-2s, 2-on-1s, a lot of pressure in the middle of the floor, a lot of turnovers that are created. And these are two teams that can get out and run, very athletic. Don't rely on their sets, their 5-on-5 looks. Neither power play specific is, especially potent from what I've seen. And they're two teams that really rely on, like I said, their transition game and getting contributions from everybody. So the Rebels will start their possession here in their own end. McKenzie, and just like I was talking about, they're going to press up here on Seth. And Seth is going to run this over center. McKenzie gets it over to Eastwood. Eastwood. And again, the Rebels had Manning in front. They're allowing the Mavericks some space right out in front of Swan. Something the Mavericks are going to want to clean up as we move along here. Dolinsky in transition. I also talked about it on the podcast, but as that shot comes in, head coach Trey Christensen is a lot of experience in this tournament as we go to a 2-on-1 here. Barrett tried to twist her as he was on the wrong side of the floor, got stopped by Swan. But head coach for the Mavericks, Trey Christensen, has been in this tournament each of the last 4 years and has also been in this tournament. The only year he wasn't was 2022 when he wasn't coaching in the league, but he spent a lot of time with Red Deer, went to a Founders and actually got a silver medal there. But he was in this tournament in 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019. Then COVID took place, and then he ended up with the Mavericks in 2023 in their second year of existence in the Junior B League. And they didn't make it. They missed the playoffs, but now he's back in familiar territory with this Mavericks team, picking up where he left off with Red Deer. As the Mavericks grabbed this loose ball, but Barkley wildly threw that up the floor and missed his intended target. Here's Barrett as he brings it up. 1-1, 7:24 to go into the first period. Barrett, pick set there. He's gonna swing it over to McKenzie. McKenzie gets a pick set for Baker, and he stepped into one and just missed the net. And now here come the Mavericks. In transition, had a man, missed him in front of the net as they look to set up now. Nice swim move there, but shot's taken off of a rough angle by Bauming. That ball is caught by Bajma, a kid from Lloyd. Him and Brown both playing their minor lacrosse in Lloydminster. Big pick there set by Manning. That shot soaked after Eastwood let that go. Eastwood tangles up with his man. Ball goes loose. And no 8-second call. So the Mavericks will maintain possession. Muratori to the net, and he wrangled his way through 3 Rebel defenders, found his way through the maze, and McGilvery able to turn that away. 1-1, 5 minutes and 55 seconds to go here in the first period. Baker tried to muscle his way out in front, then McKenzie took a sidearm. Don't know if that made its way to the net. The McDonald Cup, head out and watch the Prince Albert Predators, Lakeland Heat, Swift Current Wolverines, Calgary Wranglers, and Southern Alberta Chaos battle to determine who will be crowned McDonald Cup champion. Catch all the action starting August 7th in Brooks, or watch it live on YouTube for free. And the city of Fort Saskatchewan, explore Fort Saskatchewan, discover a place where family fun meets opportunity. Work in a thriving community, play where every moment is memorable. Visit Work and Play in Fort Saskatchewan. Here's Owen on the right side. Owen gets pushed out high. Manning to the net. Manning, and shot that about halfway through the 24. Stopped by Swan. Sutherland. Swings that over to the lefties and gets back over into Sutherland as he cuts. Sutherland with a couple of fakes, stopped by McGilvery. Here's Longmire. You talk about the fastest guys in the league. Longmire is on the short list. Guy can get up and go. Baker to McKenzie to Eastwood. Eastwood off the half wall, swung it to Baker, who was cutting back door. Couldn't get much on that quick stick. They call him for being in the crease anyway. Here's Muratori. Delinsky. Swings that into the stick of Payne Show, back over to Muratori. Muratori surveys. Muratori. Payne Show. That outside shot's taken by Delinsky, stopped by McGilvery. And I meant to say this off the top, but I hope you took the under in this one. These are two teams that play very similar stylistically, and I could very easily see a low-scoring game here. Two teams with good goaltending as well. Kohut tried to hit Eastwood. Missed them, and here come the Mavericks. Hard hit there. Ball into the stick of Sutherland. Sutherland up across the dotted line, shot that. And that's going to go in behind the net. Walsh tried to kick at it. Then he bats at it and knocked it into the roof. It's going to be Maverick ball. I want to thank you for joining us here on the channel, CROW LAX TV. All you got to do is hit subscribe. And with all the games this weekend and going into Monday's final, you'll want to be notified every time a game goes live. That was a unwarranted behind the back flip. And it goes into the stick of Zorniak, who has numbers. Zorniak is going to elect to wait. Might have been able to hit McAdam there on the 2-on-1. Decided to wait up. McKenzie to Baker. That ball pops up in the air. Here's Hildebrandt. Hildebrandt right down Main Street and stopped by McGilvery. And nobody elected to pick him up. And he was able to walk right into prime area of the floor. Here's Johnson for the Rebels. Johnson rolls back out. And Kohut will swing the ball. Manning in front, and Owen had stopped up about, 5 feet to the side of the net. Got a shot on, easily handled by Swan. Ball up high as the ball was intended to be flipped back, but it's going to turn over. And here's Vetch. He's got Simonson with him. Kalik Simonson in, and he scores. Kalik Simonson in transition gives the Rebels their second lead of the game. Another one of those guys with offensive ability, playing out the back gate this year for the most part. Does play offense from time to time as well, but Kalik's a goal scorer in minor lacrosse. Knows how to finish, and you saw him do that there. A little bit of a head tilt to the far side and leaned his body over, didn't even need to use his stick to fake Swan, and got him back to the short side high, and he's also going to draw a call. The Rebels will go right to the power play. Here's Kohut. He's chased out, gets it to Baker. McAdam tried to get it back up high as the Mavericks doing a good job. It's basically running what they call an exploding box, and on the blind, whenever the pass comes on the blind side from the top to the shooter, they're doing a good job of running out and forcing the issue. Caused a turnover right there. Now in front, and that stopped as a pass went from the top right down to the crease as McGilvery makes that stop. Mihalik was chasing Zorniak there. Zorniak gets the clear. Ball goes way behind Eastwood. Eastwood rips that, and that goes way wide. I think it hit a stick, and now here's Muratori in transition. Everett Muratori across his defender, Muratori, and through a couple of hard fakes, McGilvery able to stay with him. Yeah, Rebels are gonna likely hold for last shot here. 40 seconds on the power play remaining. Kohut, big possession here. Baker, wide open. McAdam stopped by Swan, and the ball goes loose. McAdam has been left countless times wide open in the middle of the floor, and I don't know what the Mavericks defense is doing to that extent, because that's the last guy you want to leave open. But after the first period, the score, the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels 2, the Mountain View Mavericks 1. We want to thank you for joining us here tonight from Genesis Place in Airdrie. All you got to do is hit subscribe. You'll be notified every time a game goes live. We'll be back in just under 10 minutes. Score 2-1. The Rebels lead after one. And welcome back inside Genesis Place in Airdrie, Alberta for period 2 of game 2. It's the Rebels leading the Mavericks by a score of 2-1, which was an excellent period, really, of lacrosse. That first period, very fast, a lot of odd man breaks. Both defenses playing pretty strong lacrosse, and both goaltenders standing tall in their respective ends. A lot of what I expected, really, coming into this game. And that's been the case. Really a lot of guys playing up and playing full throttle. Saw it with Simonson on his goal, getting out and running in transition, and now the Mavericks have a 2-on-1. And that's fired, and McGilvery is able to fight that off. That looked like Amundsen in transition with that opportunity. So the Mavericks are going to hold this in the far corner. Now working his way out in front, and then he gets knocked down right in front of the right in front of the Rebel net. Looked like Istis. He goes down, and he's going to be needed to be attended to. Take this time to remind you about the 50-50 draw will take place following the Larry Bishop tournament on August 6th with a maximum take-home of up to $10,000. Scan the QR code. Scan the QR code on our social media channels for more information at CROW LAX TV on Instagram and X. As McAdam gets it to Kohut. Teams go back to even strength as the Mavericks get out of the box. Eastwood, and that was a bullet labeled to the short side top corner. A riser, and it's 3-1. An absolute rocket by Eastwood. And gives the Rebels their first two-goal lead of the game. Simonson with a quick draw win. Eastwood behind the back to McKenzie, and he scores. But they wipe it out. And that was a highlight reel goal. That would, to quote Jake Elliott, that would have been a clip-it moment. A quick draw win by Simonson. Right to Eastwood, a BTB to a breaking McKenzie, but they wave it off. Sutherland with his attempt at a BTB that bounces off the floor harmlessly, and then another BTB at the top. Stop by McGilvery. And here comes Reynaud. Oh, rainbow pass up to Baker. Kohut. Baker back to Eastwood. Eastwood inside to Kohut, but he got checked at the last second. Now long floor pass. Grabbed by Amundsen. Mavericks did have numbers momentarily if the guy out of the gate would have broken up into the play, but instead it turns over, and here comes Johnson. Johnson is chased by Barclay. He fires it over to Manning, who turfed that, but it's picked up by Owen. Baker to a wide open McKenzie, and on the doorstep, Swan says no. Here come the Mavericks. In transition, Hildebrandt. Hildebrandt comes around the net, and he's gonna wait up for his teammates to hit the floor. Hildebrandt with a hard shot. That was a good stop by McGilvery as the ball goes loose, and it's chased down by Reynaud. And the Rebels hit the floor. Reynaud spins off a check. And he gets it over to the far side, and that's McKenzie, who just had that goal wiped out and had another look right on top of Swan. Then a quick stick. Great pass by McKenzie. Just missed. Was that shot from McAdam. And now the Mavericks, in a key point in this game, the Rebels really starting to take it to them, see if they can turn the tide as the ball is brought down the floor by Harnack. Sutherland, a guy that's going to need to carry the load offensively for this Mavericks team, is going to hold to the net. Sutherland got tied up. Ball goes loose. And it's picked up by Vetch, who runs out up floor. Vetch, big hit there. Amundsen knocked him down. Now Kohut underneath his defender. Kohut, and he scores. Kohut able to step around underneath his man and shot it short side. Didn't really throw any kind of fake. Just had Swan frozen and pumped the ball back down inside the near bar. And the Rebels coming out with a purpose here in the second period. Here are the Mavericks on the right side now with it. Off the half wall. Ball is flung at the net. Wild release by Bauming. Now Banco circles out with it. Banco shoots that. Hit a body. And the ball is going to pop up and hit the mesh, and it'll be a Rebel ball. 15:48 to go, middle frame. Rebels up 4-1. Here's Walsh. Walsh chased down, and he's going to go get that loose ball and roll it to Kohut. Kohut tried to hit McAdam. Ball was over his head. McAdam the ball is going to end up bouncing back down the floor. And the Rebels have a reset here. McAdam to Baker. That missed on the far side low. Ball is collected back by McAdam to Manning. Manning swings it. Baker, and that shot at the feet of Swan is stopped. And now here we come back the other way. Barclay hit a cutter, but then the ball was in turn, thrown away. It was a tough play for Mahalik to make, as he found himself fading to the wrong side of the floor. Zorniak is going to defer to Kohut. McKenzie, Baker, back to McKenzie, in the middle. Manning, stopped by Swan. Good ball movement there by the Rebels, as they've really sort of found their offensive rhythm in this second period. Manning, step back shot, stopped by Swan, as Manning now got tied up with a Maverick defender. Looks like a hold is coming up to the Mavericks, and it'll be a Rebel power play. Vimy Ridge Lacrosse. At Vimy Lacrosse, excellence is the standard, led by some of the province's most decorated and experienced instructors. Vimy Lacrosse is the fusion of sport, academics, and personal growth. Unleash your potential at Vimy Lacrosse. Visit vimyedmonton.ca/lacrosse. Baker, Eastwood, back up to Baker. Winds and fires, and Baker taken to the floor as he missed the net. And it'll be Maverick ball here as they look to kill. Out of the corner is Sutherland. Try to muscle his way through a couple of Rebel defenders. Sutherland fakes a pass, backs into his defender. Sutherland. Rebels doing a good job of not allowing him to release a shot on net, and Eastwood will collect. Eastwood with one in this game already. Comes back into Maverick territory. Kohut also on the board. Gets it to Baker, also on the board. McKenzie back in behind the net. Kohut to Baker. Tries to get it to Manning inside, and a couple of defenders converge on him. Not a lot of space there for Manning to operate. Good defense there by the Mountain View side. Kohut skips it. Down to Manning. Back up to Eastwood. Eastwood to Baker. And that low shot is stopped by Swan. And Baker loves to shoot to the 5-hole and down by the feet. Got his first goal, or he got the first goal of the game that way on a crease dive. Kind of jammed it at Swan's feet, down by his feet anyway, as Walsh comes back with the turnover. 4-1, Rebels lead here, as they have had the vast majority of the play here in the second after what was a very fast and back and forth first. But that's picked off now and out of the box. Mavericks in, and that goes wide on the breakaway as Fancy missed the net. And now behind the play, an interference call is drawn. The Mavericks will take possession. And a bad change here by the Rebels, 2-on-1. That pass in behind Fancy. Ball is picked up by Scrimshaw. Scrimshaw into the offensive zone. Now wide open, McKenzie off the bench. Nice feed from Zorniak to look for him. Wide open was Seth. Quick stick didn't go. Ball on the left side. Mihalik goes in behind the net. Mihalik up top with Amundsen. Amundsen winds and fires, and don't think that hit a piece of McGilvery. And the Rebels come back. Bajma runs into the Rebel zone. Manning in behind the net. Manning to Baker. To Eastwood. Down to Manning. Manning. And he scores down low on Swan to make it 5-1. So having some success down low on Swan are the Rebels. I believe, I want to say 3 of the 5 have gone down there. And the Mavericks are going to take a timeout here with 10:52 to go in the second period. I want to take this time to thank the McDonald's Cup and preview it as they get set for the Prince Albert Predators, the Lakeland Heat, and the Swift Current Wolverines, Calgary Wranglers, and the Southern Alberta Chaos to touch down in Brooks, Alberta, starting August 7th. The McDonald Cup, you can catch that live and on YouTube for free. And the City of Fort Saskatchewan, explore Fort Saskatchewan, discover a place where family fun meets opportunity. Visit their historic downtown, scenic parks, and river valley. Work in a thriving community. Play where every moment is memorable. Visit, work, and play in Fort Saskatchewan. I want to thank everybody for tuning in here tonight. It's game 2 of the Larry Bishop Memorial. Full round robin, 5 teams. Everybody plays 4 games, and the top 2 will collide on Monday afternoon to determine who goes to the Founders Cup, the Junior B Nationals, being held in Hamilton, Ontario. And of course, if you're in the chat, feel free to share your thoughts. What are you seeing? What are you thinking? Who are you cheering for? Any predictions you might have moving forward, throw them in there. And you can hit me up on MJ or on X at MJ_9 and on Instagram, m.joma. And now a 2-on-1 develops for the Rebels. McKenzie, and this time he tried to go high, and that was turned away by Swan. McKenzie with a load of opportunities so far. Not on the board yet. Now the Mavs right to the net on a defensive breakdown and transition. Pass from McGilvery to Zorniak. He runs it down. 10 minutes to go here in the second period. And you got to think this can't extend too much further if you're the Mavericks. If they want a real shot and a realistic shot in this game, this is the time they got to go on a run. These last 10 minutes of the second. Kohut rips that one, misses the net, and now here's an opportunity in transition. The Mavs are going to run. That shot is fired and scores as Admonson off the bench rips that about hip high on McGilvery to make it 5-2. As off the face-off, the Mavericks are going to repossess here and have an opportunity to cut this lead, but now the ball goes loose, and Zorniak, as he was following, rolled the ball up the floor to Vetch. Vetch turns out. Now Simonson's going to handle that. Ball in behind the net. Manning looks back door, and Baker jumping up to try to get that one on net. Did a good job, and Swan got across just in time. Looks like we're going to have a media timeout now. Anybody unfamiliar with that? Every period, once you dip down under 10 minutes, the referees pause, give the teams a little bit of a time to get water, and goalies to come out of their nets, get water, and things like that. So while we have a second here, I want to just remind everybody about how you can get involved. I touched on it a few minutes ago. Instagram, you can hit me up at m.joma on X, mj_9. You can hit up the CROW LAX TV Twitter account as well. And I highly encourage for people to get involved in the chat during games, live chat. Let us know what you're thinking, what you're seeing, who you have winning it all, and feel free, as long as it's within reason, to throw a few chirps here and there. As the ball is going to start back down in the Mavericks zone, and they're playing a great song in the building right now. It's literally titled That Song, and I can't think of a better title for this song. By Big Rec, as Hildebrandt's going to start up inside his own crease. Now we're ready to go. Hildebrandt is going to bring it up. He's marked by McKenzie. Hildebrandt to the net, and that goes through McGilvery. An odd one there. It's going to bring the Mavericks back to within 2. The type of goal that is a bit out of nowhere and can really provide you with life and that extra kickstart to get back in a game, and suddenly it's 2-goal spread here. Don't see that all that often. A guy sprinting up from his own crease and gets a look straight on the net about 4 feet inside the dotted line, and it goes through McGilvery. Definitely one you don't see him giving up very often. Now the loose ball out of the corner. Is picked up by the Mavs in front. Shot taken about halfway through the 24. Ball swings nicely into the stick of Mihalik. Pick and roll, and he had Fancy, but Fancy didn't bring the ball in. Zorniak goes down awkwardly in the corner, and gotta hope he's all right. Looked like he might have rolled his ankle. He looks like He's going to get off the floor all right here, and Reynaud will fight through traffic. Somehow, one hands it over to Owen. Owen steps off a check. Baker swings it to Owen. Owen, and that almost went through Swan. That would have been a greasy one right back the other way. But Swan gets enough of it. Mavericks back over center. Ball gets knocked back. It'll be over and back, and it'll be Rebel ball. 7:50 in the second period. Rebels leading by a score of 5-3. Here is McKenzie. Like I mentioned earlier, a number of high-quality looks. Eastwood swings it into the stick of Kohut. Kohut rolls off a check. Kohut stopped by Swan. And the Rebels offensive guys really pressing here, but Amundsen, just as he got over, decided to call 8 seconds. Or they decided to call 8 seconds just as he got over. So it'll be Rebel ball. Baker had that one go in behind him. And here go the Mavericks. In transition, that ball gets sent errantly into the boards. And here comes the Rebels back the other way, and now a Rebel player was thrown down to the ground, and it looks like that's going to draw a call. And again, it looks like the Mavericks are going to go to the box. You know, we wait for the call here. It looks like Myris is going to go to the box for the Mavericks. Doesn't like it. And so the Rebels will go to the power play with 6:55 to go in the second period, up 2. Baker, McAdam, back to Baker. Seal set there by Wall. He slips off of it. Baker into the middle. Couldn't bring that in. A little bit of a fake seal and a roll into the middle by Baker opened him up, but they didn't connect on the pass. As that ball got stripped away from the Mavericks deep inside Rebel territory. That was Muratori, and the Rebels take it back. McAdam is going to bring it back up as we approach the 6 minutes. As we approach 6 minutes to go here in the second period, as McKenzie rips that one far side. And here we go, the Mavericks. But a couple of Rebels already back. Here's Amundsen. Swim move, Amundsen, and he ran through the crease, and then the rebound came back, and that just missed. And Amundsen with a hell of a move there. And it going full speed, swam his defender and got right on top of the crease. And just wasn't able to connect. Now Sutherland gets tied up. Sutherland getting pushed as the ball's loose. No interference call, though. Sutherland swam his guy, but was well inside the crease. As there's some pushing and shoving behind the plate. They'll intervene there and start back the other way. Here's Jackson Baker up top. Kohut. McKenzie. Back over to Kohut. Baker looks into the middle. McAdam, and he scores. And I know Carter, I coached him in minor lacrosse. I know he has a background in basketball. He basically employed the post-up move there. Boxed his defender out, caught the ball, turned around, and shot it in the net. So the Rebels re-extend their lead back to 3. And it'll be McKenzie with the loose ball off the draw. He goes deep into the Maverick end, and now he'll run back up across the top with it and swing it to Owen. Owen. He's going to look. Owen over to Simonson. To Manning. Manning, heavy traffic. tried a little turnaround shot behind his, almost like a reverse shovel shot. And that got blocked, and now the Mavericks will come back up floor. Swim move between two defenders for Banco. Banco in behind the net. Banco out in front and stopped by McGilvery. That pass got knocked down by Sutherland's stick, as Sutherland with a couple extra shots. Behind the plate, Rebels come back up. Barrett to McAdam. McAdam at the feet of Baker. And here go the Mavericks. Hildebrandt, that's Ethan, taking some hacks from Eastwood. Amundsen, who's been very noticeable in transition in this one, gets it to Hildebrandt. The red shoes. As that shot comes in from the left side, Mihalik. As the ball is picked up by Fancy. Fancy shoots that. And McGilvery turns that away right on top of the crest, and now Scrimshaw comes back. Zorniak. Eastwood. Way out high, near center. Pressed up. Dolinsky chases him. Now Eastwood gets a pick set. McAdam into the middle. McKenzie had to drop that out of his stick. He was tied up. And here go the Mavericks. Hildebrandt. Breakaway pass. Sutherland, and that's stopped by McGilvery, and they say he stepped inside the crease. A lot of transition now as that pass was sent to Vetch, but it was out of his reach as he sort of got the top, or nicked the top of the head of his stick. Here's Barclay as we go underneath 3 minutes to go in the second period. Amundsen. Amundsen to the net, took a hard hit. And no call there, to the dismay of many Mavs fans. Now Reynaud. Baker to the net. They're going to say Baker stepped inside the crease. And Banco will start it up. Mahalik with a shot. That's stopped by McGilvery. And now Scrimshaw brings it in to Maverick territory. Scrimshaw will hand it off to Barrett, who fires it down to Owen. Owen over to McAdam. Kohut picks it back up. Barrett, long outside shot. That hit a body. McAdam with the rebound. Stopped by Swan. Owen. Barrett. Baker. McKenzie swung that momentarily to Owen, but he lost it. And here go the Mavericks. Tight pass into traffic. And then that pass got sailed into the far corner. Hildebrandt picks it up off the glass and shoots that into the stick of McGilvery. Approaching 1 minute to go in the second period. Rebels leading 6-3 in game number 2 here of the Larry Bishop Memorial. Here's Eastwood to the net. Eastwood, a lot of shots going 5-hole with a lot of sidearm releases here in this game. And now we're going to have a Rebel penalty as Eastwood is going to make his way to the box. Vimy Ridge Academy at Vimy Lacrosse Excellence is the standard, led by some of the province's most decorated and experienced instructors. Vimy Lacrosse is the fusion of sport, academics, and personal growth. Unleash your potential with Vimy Lacrosse. Explore the academy by visiting vimyedmonton.ca/lacrosse. And so the Maverick power play will hit the floor. 45 seconds remain in the period. Sutherland Hildebrandt, Sutherland, and somehow they tucked that in. They sent a guy to his wrong side off of the crease, and he was able to jam it in the short side on a little bit of a twister release, and it's 6-4. Definitely an awkward looking play there, but it goes home for the Mavericks, and they're only down 2. And Bauming with a really nice finish there. Very, very high degree of difficulty. As I said, off of the wrong side of the floor. Really don't have much of an angle. Your stick is faded way off to the wrong side of the net, but he was able to bring his hands back in close tight to his body and tuck it inside the short side. And that will be a timeout, so take that time to thank the city of Fort Saskatchewan. Explore Fort Saskatchewan, discover a place where family fun meets opportunity. Visit their downtown parks in the River Valley. Work in a thriving community. Play where every moment is memorable. Visit, work, and play in Fort Saskatchewan. So the Rebels will call their timeout here. 28.5 seconds left in the second period. Try to answer back after the Mavericks narrow this one back down to a 2-goal spread. Kohut, McAdam, Manning, Baker, McKenzie out on the floor. McGilvery staying in net, so they will not go 6-on-5. Kohut. McAdam. Over to Baker. Kohut. Baker. And they're going to hold the ball up high for a while now. They swing it over to Manning. Manning to Baker. Baker to the wrong side of the floor. Forced in behind the net. And he tried to send that back up top to Manning. And that's going to do it for the second period of play. After 2, the score will be the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels 6, the Mountain View Mavericks 4. I want to thank you for joining us here on the channel. Here with you all weekend long through the Larry Bishop Memorial as we crown an Alberta champion, an RMLL champion, and send them off to the Founders Cup. 6-4 after 2 periods of play. We'll be right back here from Genesis Place in about 10 minutes. And we're ready to go. Third period action here from Genesis Place. It's the Rebels leading the Mavericks by a score of 6-4. The Mavericks getting a late goal on the power play to draw within 2. And that's where we pick up here in the third, as the ball is picked up by the Mavericks and Edmondson. And another call coming up to the Rebels here. So an opportunity, if they're unable to cash on the 6-on-5, to go back to the power play. Shot comes out of the corner, stopped easily by McGilvery. Ball goes way up in the air. Zorniak grabs, and it'll be a Maverick ball here as the Rebels go to the box, waiting to see who it is. Looked like a too many men call because they're sending an in-home. Looks like Bajma will make his way into the box. So here come the Mavericks on the power play. Sutherland up top, he'll direct traffic. Sutherland over to Bauming, back to Sutherland. Sutherland holds. Bauming is gonna seal. Now he steps off. Sutherland. That shot stopped by McGilvery, and McAdams got it. McAdam is gonna go to the net. McAdam on a breakaway. Carter McAdam, and he's stopped by Swan. That's a huge stop by Swan. And a bit of a domino moment. If that goes in, that's a shorthanded goal. Suddenly it's a 3-goal lead again, and you're climbing uphill big time. Sutherland still had it on the hidden ball. Lost it though, and that exposed where the ball was. Sutherland fades over to the right side of the floor. Sutherland off of a Rebel, pops up into the bench, so the Mavericks will get the reset. Bit of a break there for the Mavericks as they didn't have much going on that set. Hildebrandt from Mihalik down in behind the net. Mihalik swings it, skips it down to the crease. Sutherland works his way to the front of the net and stopped by McGilvery, and McAdam is gonna run away with it again. McAdam backs out of traffic, does a good job there to secure possession with 30 seconds to go on the kill. Ball is held there by Kohut, doing a good job to fend off a couple of Mavericks. Kohut sends one in on net, and it'll be Maverick ball. Hildebrandt with the power play, winding down, rips it into the far side low on McGilvery. It's 6-5. Another goal sort of out of nowhere. There weren't even 5 Mavericks set up down floor, and Hildebrandt afforded the space to step into one and blast it by McGilvery. So now all of a sudden the Mavericks down only 1. And they're gonna look to get another possession right off that goal. Delinsky. Delinsky down the boards. And now a Maverick player looks to be severely hurt. They're gonna stop the play. Didn't see what happened. Definitely I can hear, even with the headset on, I can hear the Maverick fans way in the other end, unhappy. it's going to be a face-off with nobody really in possession when they blew it dead. So with 17 minutes to go, we'll have a face-off score sitting at Rebels 6, Mavericks 5. McKenzie is going to get the ball and pull out. McKenzie doubled. He's pinned on the near wall. Baker's going to run in and grab the loose ball as it popped out. Baker. Heavily pressed there. And it looks like the Mavericks are going to go to the box. So the Rebels power play will get an opportunity here. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and remind you about the 50-50. Be sure to get your CROW LAX 50-50 tickets. Draw will take place following the Larry Bishop tournament on Tuesday, August 6th with a maximum take-home of up to $10,000. Scan the QR code on your screen now or visit our social media channels for more information at CROW LAX TV on Instagram and X. The Rebel power play will be Baker, Kohut, McAdam on the shooters, and Eastwood and McKenzie down on the crease. And they give the Maverick 4 minutes for 2 separate penalties, so the Rebels with an opportunity to maybe extend this back out by another goal. Eastwood, Baker shoots that into the chest of Swan. Long pass up to Hildebrandt. Hildebrandt works his way into the 24. One-handed it down to the crease, but that missed Fancy. Here's Johnson. Gets that to McKenzie, who hands it to Baker. 3 minutes remaining in the Rebel power play. Kohut skips it to Eastwood into the middle to Baker, misses the net as the ball is gathered up by the Mavericks. Ball is ragged here by Mahalik. Mahalik back over to the boards. Mahalik's gonna hold on to this. Shoots that, and that goes in from a very severe angle. It's 6-6. Couple of uncharacteristic goals going in on McGilvery here. And you can feel the energy shifting over to the Mavericks side right now. Ball is picked up by Amundsen. In front, and that's stopped by McGilvery. Able to walk out right to the top of the crease. McGilvery answers with a big save there. Harnack with the opportunity. Kohut comes back down into the offensive zone. Rebels still on the power play, just over 2 minutes to go on it. Baker, McAdam back quickly up to Baker. McAdam swings it over to Kohut. Eastwood, Kohut, and that shot gets soaked. Here come the Mavericks. 1:50 to go in the kill. Rebels in need of one here. Benko spins back, gets it to Dolinsky. The Mavericks are gonna wait up here. No rush as they look to drain the 30. Dolinsky doubled there. Good strip there by the Rebels. Reno clears that for the team in white, and they return to the floor with their power play. We've got a barn burner here from Genesis Place in Airdrie. Rebels and Mavericks. The Rebels did have a 5-1 lead, and the Mavericks have erased that and come all the way back to tie it here as we approach the later stages of this one. McKenzie, and that almost snuck through the stick of Swan. Rebels really struggling to get quality looks on this power play, giving up the shorthanded goal as well from that severe angle. Ball goes loose. Picked up by the Mavericks. Hildebrandt, who is just one of those guys where the ball finds mesh for it when he shoots it, and he almost buries it again there. Tried to reach up over the top of the shoulder of McGilvery. They call him for a crease violation. Eastwood is going to go back over. It's going to be Maverick ball. And now we got a delay of game call coming up to Eastwood. So that'll even it up for the next 28 seconds, and then the Mavericks will go to the power play. So 4-on-4, Sutherland up top, wide open is Fancy. He had all day to step into that one, and that did not either reach. I think that hit a stick. No, it did hit McGilvery. They get the reset. Here are the Mavericks on the right side. Sutherland takes a hard check, engages his defender, back up top. Mihalik with the shot, that stopped. And then Scrimshaw is pushed back in, but they say he avoided it long enough to not be called for back in. Sutherland, that pass gets knocked down. Sutherland back up. Winding and firing was Bauming. That's stopped by McGilvery. And that ball's turned back over into the stick of Delinsky. And now a beautiful fake and tuck to the far side. A transition look. Very good patience there shown by Fancy. Got McGilvery to bite on that fake to the short side and wrapped it around him. 7-6. And that is the Mavericks' first lead of the game here. We'll see if the Rebels are able to punch back. To the net, Reynaud gets stopped. Ball is going to be picked up. They say it missed the net. No reset. Simonson. Ball is, there was a heavy pick set there at center. The Maverick went down. That shot gets pulled wide by McKenzie. And now here go the Mavericks. Muratori to the net, stopped by McGilvery. And here come the Rebels. Vetch. Vetch is going to go to the net. Vetch in and tried to go 5-0, stopped by Swan. 11-11 to go, third period. Delinsky's going to push with pace in transition, tried to hit Paincho. Back door, that was at his feet. And here go the Rebels. Kohut pressed. He throws that up wildly, and that's going to turn over into Maverick possession. Here's Delinsky. Been a mainstay in transition for the Mavericks. Delinsky swings it. That was a little high for Paincho. Paincho unable to bring it in. And here goes Walsh. Walsh is going to stop up here and wait for help. Walsh to the net, and Swan stops that. The Rebels a little scrambly right now, not really getting their offense set and settling for shaky opportunities. And now that's a big stop by McGilvery after Harnack was allowed to walk right to the net. Rebel offense really needs to establish something again here. Haven't been on the floor much. Kohut. Eastwood. Manning. Manning rolls off a check. Manning trying to get his hands free. Manning swings it. And what a quick stick finish from Kohut. Manning able to spot him, finding that quiet area of the floor, and he gets that quick stick release off in time before Swan could jump over at 7-7. Two nicest goals of the game really have happened in the last couple of minutes here. The Mavericks with that finish on the crease by Fancy, and now Kohut burying one to even it back up. Some trouble with the loose ball here. Gets batted back. It's going to be Rebel ball. And because we're under 10 minutes, that'll be a media timeout. With the score 7-7. I want to thank you for joining us here on CROW LAX TV. All you got to do is hit subscribe. You'll be notified each and every time a game goes live. This is game number 2 of the Larry Bishop Memorial. Games all day tomorrow, all day Sunday, and then the final goes Monday with the top 2 teams from the round robin facing off to go to the Nationals. The team winning on Monday will book their tickets to Hamilton, Ontario for the Founders Cup starting in a couple of weeks. Of course, earlier tonight it was the Shamrocks defeating the Silvertips by a score of 9-5. So the Shamrocks start off 1-0, and the Silvertips start off 0-1. Both of those teams back in action tomorrow. McKenzie is going to operate up here on the left side. Pick set there by Baker. Baker rolls off. Baker to the net. Baker tried to twist that into the short side. Missed the net. In tight. Unable to get one to go home there, and the Mavericks come back the other way. Ball into the corner. Sutherland. Sutherland rolls to the net and somehow gets that up over McGilvery's shoulder without much room to get his hands free. And McGilvery really did not like that. Thought he stepped in the crease, and at first glance, I really did believe that was in the crease. Now keep in mind, it's not even about where your foot touches, it's where your feet are in relation to the plane of the crease before the ball enters the net and crosses the line. The way that Sutherland jumped towards the net, very unlikely that he did not violate that, but they let it stand. It's 8-7. As the ball pops back into the stick of the Mavericks. Dolinsky grabbed. That's going to be a call. Pretty easy one for the ref to make there. And that'll send the Rebels to the box, and the Mavericks will go to the power play. So the Mavericks up 1 with 8:44 to go. We'll head to the man advantage. Big kill here for the Rebels. I think a must. Sutherland is going to wind, fire, stopped by McGilvery. Here is McGilvery looking to outlet the ball. Scrimshaw has a man wide open. Too late, though, by the time he went to release it. That ball's going to turn over, but it went off of a Maverick, so they're going to give the ball back to the Rebels. Walsh holds it. Baker. Short-handed here. Baker without much room to shoot. Baker is going to come across the top and float one to the far side. That'll be back over. It'll be Maverick ball. 7:53 to go. Mavericks with about a minute to go on the power. Here is Paincho on that left shooter. He gets it up to Sutherland. Seal on the right side. Sutherland Bauming in the middle of the floor. Paincho took the shot. Missed the net. Ball goes loose. And just saved in time by the Mavericks. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Hildebrandt from the rag line hit the bar. And that's going to get a reset here. 30 seconds remaining. Hildebrandt. Skip pass. Now a nice feed and a cross crease quick stick. Sutherland tucks it 9-7. And with their best power play set of the night, the Mavericks able to go back up 2 here. And the Rebels are in desperate need of one now with just under 7 minutes to play. McKenzie is going to be checked up high. McKenzie got stripped into the corner. And Swan is going to grab the loose ball. Delinsky up floor. Delinsky races around. And got a step on Longmire, pulled it back out. Sutherland, no looker. And that shot got taken by Riley Banco, stopped by McGilvery. Here comes Big Teague Brown for the Rebels. Simonson with a goal in this one to Kohut. Jackson Kohut to the net. Kohut, and that got stopped by Swan. Now the ball gets stripped from Barclay, right to Manning. Manning, and he misses the net and then got taken down. That'll be a call, and the Rebels are going to go to the power play. Manning going down heavy there, coming back from a knee injury that kept him out for a large part of the season. We'll hope he's all right, and that's going to draw a Rebel power play with 6:06 to go. And the Mavericks up 9-7. So the Rebels get a power play when they need it the most. And we'll see what kind of answer they have for the Mavericks. Kohut with McAdam causing havoc in the middle. McAdam rotates back out. Kohut, Baker, back to Kohut. Kohut shoots that. Good save there at the glove of Swan. Kohut pushed into the corner. Jackson Kohut tried to go cross crease to Eastwood. He grabs that. Then he looked back and turned for McKenzie. Ball goes loose. Kohut. Up top. Jackson Baker winds. And that got soaked by the equipment of netminder Swan. Ball comes up the floor. Harnack turns out. Harnack all the way to the net. Harnack crease dive, and they say no goal. And for people watching at home, that was more of a goal, and I think it actually was. Way more of a goal than the Sutherland one that made it 8-7, but I digress. I guess it evens out in the end. Baker up top. Kohut gets it over to Eastwood. Goes over to McKenzie. That missed him. And here go the Mavericks in transition once again. And who else? Muratori. Muratori skipped by a guy, but a second defender tossed him to the floor. And it'll be Maverick ball. Ball up high, Hildebrandt. Both of those guys run very similarly. And the sevens and the one and the sevens are a little different on these jerseys. Here is Sutherland. Sutherland, that ball goes off a leg. And Zorniak is gonna pick that up. Kohut. McAdam, backdoor, tried to find Baker. Kohut, rebound shot, turned away by Swan, who's been very good in this third period. Now back into Rebel territory are the Mavericks. It sort of feels like they're trying to suffocate this game now. Bauming in front, and that pass eluded its target. Ball bounds back over center. It'll be over and back, and it'll be Rebel ball. Here's McKenzie to Baker. Baker winds. That hit a body, got to Swan, but easy stop for him. Here come the Mavericks. Amundsen gallops up over center to Dolinsky. Those two been very impressive in transition. Then you add the goal scoring in transition that Muratori and Hildebrandt offer, and you got a team that can sort of match up the transition ability of the Rebels. Like I said off the top, two teams that play very similarly. It's been a good one here from Genesis Place tonight. Dolinsky up top. Dolinsky stopped by McGilvery, and then the rebound came back out, and McGilvery turned that away before they called the Mavericks for being inside the crease. Vetch. Vetch gets tied up. Back to Kohut. Moving pick there. It'll be Maverick ball. 2:25 to go. Mavericks leading the Rebels 9-7. They were down 5-1 in this one and trailed 6-4 going into this third period. Turned the tables and now hold a 9-7 lead in the waning moments of this one. As that gets stopped by McGilvery. Can't let another one in if you're the Rebels. And now the Mavericks are going to take what I would call an unwarranted penalty. And the Rebels are going to go back to the power play. McKenzie mishandles that in the corner, and he's going to fight for it. A couple of Mavericks surround him. That'll be back in, and it'll be Rebel ball. Eastwood deep in the corner. Threw it through a stick. Back up to Kohut. Baker to Kohut. Kohut tried to find the short side. Stopped by Swan. Rebels gotta get going here. Baker, McAdam, Eastwood. Here is Baker. Checked heavily there. Mavericks really aggressive on this man short. Talked about that exploding box earlier. They do it again. This time Baker gets a shot off. had the far side though and decided to pull that one back, and Swan was already over. A minute and 10 going. Here goes Renault. Ben Renault in. Renault, and he is stopped by Swan. Very good created turnover there. Good work and aggressive play there by Renault. Stopped by Swan. Swan, if you remember, the Rebels had a shorthanded breakaway when it was 6-4. And Swan made a really nice save, held his ground, and the Mavericks, Hildebrandt, walked right back down the floor and scored from distance, and that was sort of the moment the game turned. Renault is throwing a suicide pass. Luckily for him, Amundsen decided to go for the ball and missed it. Could have been bad as Eastwood to McAdam. Tried to reach around Swan, and that's turned away. Timeout by the Mavs, and with 17 seconds left, they'll try to ice this one. So, if this score holds, day one we'll see the Shamrocks and the Mavericks go to 1-0, and we'll see the Silvertips and Rebels fall down to 0-1. The Blizzard, of course, having not played, they open up their tournament tomorrow morning in a super early 9 o'clock start. And anybody that's unfamiliar with the Blizzard program, they're a team that has attended this tournament really every year since 2015. I think they only missed the 1 year in 2014. And ever since, they've been up atop, at least near atop the league. They won in 2016 when they beat the Chill, and they also have been to the final of this tournament 4 times. And just watching them and looking at them in the opening ceremonies, big team as Eastwood's gonna go in on a break. Eastwood stopped again by Swan. Don't know if it would have mattered a whole lot with the dying seconds coming off the clock here, as the final score is going to be the Mountain View Mavericks 9, the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels 7. The Mountain View Mavericks go to 1-0 while the Rebels drop to 0-1. We want to thank you for joining us here on the channel, CROW LAX TV, with you here throughout the tournament. After day one, your standings will read the Calgary Shamrocks 1-0, the Mountain View Mavericks 1-0, the Fort Saskatchewan Rebels 0-1, the Rocky View Silvertips 0-1, and the Winnipeg Blizzard sitting at 0-0, playing their opener at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Once again, the final score from Genesis Place: the Mountain View Mavericks 9, Fort Saskatchewan Rebels 7. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow morning.